Hello. Today I'm just going to show you some very basic things within InDesign which some of you will have chosen to use to create the presented version of your personal study. So InDesign is part of Creative Suite, it has this ID logo. So if you open up InDesign and then if I go to File and New and then pick Document, it will give me this screen. You could also have done that by just clicking on Create New there. And as with Photoshop and Illustrator, it's got some pre-saved templates. So if we want an A4 document, we just click on Print and then A4 comes up as default. It's important to remember if you're actually getting a physically printed book from like Bonus Print or somewhere, that they don't necessarily use standard A4 as the size. So Bonus Print doesn't have 297 as the height, for example. So if you're getting a physically printed book, you do need to do a bit of research on what dimensions the book you're getting will be, and then obviously edit your template. So you can give it a title in here, and then importantly you can set the number of pages. So if I set 20 as the number of pages and then click on Create, it will build a 20-page document. If I zoom in and out, you can see all the pages. So this is my template, and of course if you click on pages in here in the properties, you can see all those pages as well. So one would be your front cover. If I click on 2 and 3, that's my first double page spread. Okay, I'm not going to dwell on loads and loads of stuff. There's obviously more complicated things you can do with InDesign, but I just want to show you the very basics about getting an image and some text and a background in, and then also some things about how your text boxes work, and then more complex stuff you can explore yourself or speak to your teacher individually about it. So to put a colour background in, use the rectangle tool, and if I just draw a box, I'll put this over the entire double spread, and you can see that there's no fill at the moment because there's a red line through the fill box and there's no stroke. If you look in your properties, those are mirrored there as well. So if I double click on there, it brings up your normal sort of colour boxes that you can use, or if I click in here, you've got all these different options as well. So I'll just put a black background in for now. It's important to remember that the thing that is selected is the thing you're working on. So what that means is this has got coordinates around it at the moment, so I can rescale it, I can edit it. If I get my black arrow, my selection tool, just click and just click on and off it, you can see it selects it or deselects it. Okay, so the next thing is importing an image. So if I go to File and then Place, and I've got some lever-skinned images of the Imperial War Museum just saved in here. So if I click on that one and click on Open, and I can drop it onto the page. This is an important thing to remember. This little link in the corner, this file is attached to where you've got it saved. It's like a preview of the file. So it's important to save your InDesign document and all the stuff you're going to place within the InDesign document in the same folder on the same computer. If you work between several computers on InDesign and forget to save the images and the book together, you will find that these links get broken. So just save them all in the same folder and keep all the images and the book together. So obviously I can move that. These pink lines are just guides, so they won't show on your final printed book. This tool here, Free Transform, is really important. If I click on that, hold Shift to keep it in proportion, and I can rescale it. Okay, now you wouldn't really want it that big, but I'm just going to do that to show you something else. So you can see it's pixelating a bit. That goes back to what I was saying about it being a preview. When you actually export it as a PDF, it will sharpen up as long as your image was high quality to begin with. So you might want to do things like making the image a bit see-through to use as a background. So you've got an opacity option there. So you could have like a faded image in the background. It's up to you. And then use our black arrow again to click off that, and we can go to File and Place and get a different image. So we'll get that one. You can drop it on top, and then using your free transform, rescale that. So it's important to remember not to put stuff too close to the edge of the canvas to these templates, because those things could be cropped if you're not careful when it's actually printed. Obviously, if you're doing it digitally, it's not a massive issue. I'm just going to remove that image so you can see a very basic thing would be a black background, or you could have a grey or white background with an image on. I'll just show you how to add text. So you've got the type tool, and if you click and drag, you can draw a text box. And you can see when I moved that text box, it clicked and aligned to the image. I've got a Libeskind article here, so obviously you'd be copying and pasting your essay in. I'm just going to drop this description of the Imperial War Museum and the awards it won in, just so I've got a bit of text to show you how to add text. So if I just drop that in, okay, so we need to change the text colour so you can actually see it, and put it in a font that is not hideous. So obviously you've got all the fonts you would normally have, and you'll be very aware how strict we are about the use of fonts. So I just type in Helvetica so Laura's not annoyed with me. So we'll just use Helvetica New Bold for now. Okay. You can do things like justifying the text here. So if you want it squared to the edges of your text box, that's a good thing to do. Don't use a massive font. It probably needs to be smaller than you're expecting it to be. So you can change the size in there. And then obviously you can change things like the kerning and the leading, just to space it out nicely. Okay, I'm just going to edit this text box again, so I'll make it smaller so the text doesn't fit in. If I press Control and click on the text box, we can then edit the text frame options. So this is quite useful. So if we click on there, we can put 2 columns and OK that, and it spreads the text out over 2 columns. So you can do quite a lot of editing within the text frame options. You can change the space between the text boxes and all that sort of thing. Okay. I'll just shrink that box again so I can show you something else. Okay, so now all the text doesn't fit in and you've got this little warning here. Just going to draw another text box just to illustrate what you can do to remedy that. And this is very useful when you're adding your essay. You can link the text boxes together. So if you click on the black arrow and then click on that plus, and then you can drag into that text box. So those text boxes are linked now. So basically, if I resize this one, you can see it disappears out of that box. If I shrink it down again, it all moves into that box. So linking your text boxes is quite important. Okay, so that's basically how to add images, a background and text. Obviously, this doesn't look great at the moment. You can spend a lot longer with yours. Have a play around with it. But when you get to the point where you want to save it, that's quite important. So I'll just show you that. So if you go to File and Export, you can do a PDF print view. That will make it one PDF, or if you're going to put it on bonus print and get a printed book, you can click JPEG and then it will save multiple JPEGs and you'll be able to add them to the bonus print software and make your book that way. But obviously if you're just putting it on the website, a PDF for now is okay. Okay, so that's the basics. Obviously, speak to your teachers about more specific detail and any personal issues with what you're trying to do. But that's how to put images in, how to organise your pages, and basically how to start off on InDesign. Very basics. So good luck with that. I look forward to seeing your finished essays.